In Singapore, to chope a seat is to claim your space with a pack of tissues. This is Chope, a series where Singaporeans gather over a meal to talk about survival, identity, and what it really means to belong in New Zealand. She built Essie the label in Singapore, then she moved her whole life to New Zealand, with no maid, no relatives close by, just her husband, and their young daughter, figuring it all out together. In this episode of Chope, Alicia sits down with us over fried carrot cake to talk about what it takes to build a business and raise a family with no one to lean on but yourselves. Yeah, so what came to your mind when you were approached by...
I was quite surprised. Yeah, because I've been here for about 8 years. And
really?
Yeah, I moved in 2018.
Oh, that's about the same time as me.
Oh, when
Which
did you
one?
move?
August.
August! Oh
You
my
also?
gosh, yes! I moved in August as well.
Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But the
Yeah.
thing is, I landed in Christchurch lah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so-
So were you in Christchurch for a while and then you moved to Auckland?
for a few months.
Okay.
We came here without like a job or anything.
Wow, that's
So-
very brave. And with your kids as well.
With my girls, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were thinking, I think Auckland, our resources might deplete faster if we were
Yeah.
all here in terms
Yeah.
of like rental and
Mm.
expenses. Yeah, and then we found someone we could flat in, so that helps reduce
the
like
cost,
like-
yeah.
stretch it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I think in November or December, after he found out that he had a job, then we moved up here.
Well, I'm very intrigued that you moved here like without a job. Was it then a very conscious decision to live in New Zealand?
Yes.
Okay.
So as a background, it was kind of like a thing that started being seeded like maybe in 2012, shortly after we got married. Some convincing required, because if we wanted to go through the really purely, get a job, it's even it's even more of a luck of the draw lah.
Yes.
So we wanted to be a bit strategic. So we asked around, and they said that actually you should go and apply for Australian PR. Is that your
No, I'm the complete opposite on the other end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it was very hard to get a New Zealand PR from application, because there's a huge chunk of the points that's only awarded to you if you are really given a job. But the thing is, people here wouldn't entertain you
Yeah.
if you don't have a visa.
Yeah.
So we got an Australian PR, and then we had to activate it within like a year, I think, of the approval.
Yeah.
So we thought, it's like delaying the inevitable in a way. Yeah. So I think quite immediately after the visa was approved, maybe 2 months, we just decided. But of course, before that, my husband did make multiple, and by multiple, I mean like 100 over applications.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And apart from maybe a couple of recruiters who then say something along the lines of like, you have to be physically present here for us to consider you, or you don't have New Zealand experience, so don't bother.
Okay.
Mm.
Wow.
So then we said, okay, to prove our sincerity,
Yeah.
we just have to be here. Yeah. And he did try looking at Christchurch, and we thought that it would be an easy sell because his occupation is under the skills shortage list.
Yeah.
As an engineer.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, my husband's an engineer.
Yeah, but I don't know. Apparently, at that time, the whole Christchurch rebuild project was at its tail end, so there were apparently no jobs for him.
Yeah.
So then we kind of like, okay, we have to make a tough decision. Like, I'm afraid you have to come up here lah, where the opportunities are. So yeah, so we just made the decision, and then just
Okay.
crossing fingers and everything that it wouldn't take as long. Yeah, because resources were finite. So we were saying that if really draw down to zero, then go
No
home.
choice, yeah.
I mean, what can we do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, although when I was there, I mean, I met some migrants like myself who ended up, working at Countdown and all that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, that could have been an option to exercise to tide things through, but luckily, quote unquote, we didn't have to resort to that option. It's very interesting that, when you first shared your story with us, that, your husband seems to be the, I would say,
Decision point. I guess.
the
Yeah.
straw that broke the camel's back for you. So, could you share as however much you can about that thought process?
So I think it's quite interesting because there is a backstory, and there's two versions. I guess we both had our hand in it. He was the one who got the job that allowed us to move, and I was the one that pushed us to yes. Because I guess the backstory is that, he had been working in Singapore for about 5 years, and he was pretty burnt out, like working really long hours. The typical like Singapore corporate story.
Yeah.
I think we were also newly married. We just got a BTO flat, and I think at that point we were like, oh, like, is this the life that we really want? Like, to have a good job, work our way up the corporate ladder, have a BTO, have kids, like, or do we want something more? Is there something more out there? And at that point, he was also kind of in his 5th year in his job, so he was kind of looking around, and he applied to countries, like different countries around the world. Which is very unlike him because he is a homebody. He like never wants to leave Singapore.
Right.
But he somehow something made him apply to jobs around the world, and I was like, whoa, like, who are you and what have you done to my husband?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he landed this job like within a couple of months. He was really apprehensive. He was like, oh, should we move? Like, I don't think it's a good decision. Whereas for me, like, since I was a teenager, like, I've always wanted to live abroad. I did an exchange in uni, and I also applied to unis abroad. And like, I've always wanted to go overseas. So when the opportunity came out for him, I was like, when are you ever going to have this opportunity? We need to move. So I was just like, let's just do it. We can just go for a couple of years and see what it's like. And so we just moved.
Okay. I'm a proponent of, if you never try, you never know.
Yes.
And that's what I tell my girls all the time. So it seems like there is a common thread between the two of us. Okay, please
I'm going to
eat as we talk.
Thank you. Favorite breakfast food?
Initially when I thought of, what kind of dishes should I prepare for my guests? And then the first thing I thought of was wanting to make chwee kueh for you, because, I don't know, it's just, chwee kueh is such like a gentle food, if you could say it. Like
a nice slow start to the day.
Even if you have no teeth, you can still like swallow it through, And I guess it's, vegetarian, vegan, so that kind of helps if guests have certain restrictions. For me, it's like, it's such a, I don't know, again, maybe because it's white and pure, and because of some of the things we share about, your experience, like motherhood here with your bonding with your daughter. I don't know, that imagery just came up. Or maybe it's the aesthetics of your brand as well. Like, very
fair enough.
But I don't know what changed my mind. I was thinking, maybe I should feature.
Do you sell this for like your markets as well?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially in the last year, I wanted to double down on like only a few really ritualized Singaporean food. So I'll be focusing more on like, like bak chor mee, this mee rebus, mee siam.
Yeah, and I think really these are like not a bit more underrated, but still very iconic Singaporean dishes. Like when I go back to Singapore, my parents will always ask like, what do you want to eat for breakfast? They'll be like, cha tau kueh. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Or if not, chi chong fan.
Yes.
You know, like mixed with the peng kueh and everything, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So that's something I miss, because I'm really not a sweet person. I mean, not my character lah, but as in like breakfast stuff, I can't deal with like sweet pastries. Which is quite common here. Yeah, it's very hard to find savory stuff. I mean, even if there is, it's like probably plain croissant or eggs benedict.
It's like very heavy.
Yeah, very heavy. Yeah. Whereas, as you are aware, like this kind of thing in Singapore is very communal.
It's
like you might buy one packet, but it's actually shared
with everyone. And then you have a few other things.
Yeah, you can try everything at once. So I mean, that I feel was also like characterizing like our conversation, like sharing, I guess business owner to business owner, and then mom to mom, and then engineering husbands. I don't know what is this.
Yeah, this
phenomenon.
And moving to New Zealand in the same month. The same year.
Exactly. Wait, which day?
Mid August.
Okay. I beat you by 1 week. Yeah, yeah. I remember distinctly it was like 2 days before NDP.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, because a week before, yeah.
Yeah. Then you know when my flatmate
What a patriotic thing
I know.
to do, by the way.
That's what I'm about to get into. It's like, oh wow, I leave just
Before
I can
National
celebrate
Day.
National Day. So it's quite interesting that you mentioned, you know, your husband's I guess emotional mental state surrounding his career was the push for him.
Yeah.
Whereas for you, I guess you don't have that problem because I mean, it's your business, it's your thing. But that being said, how then is your story as a business owner like traveling alongside like a husband who is an employee coming here? Like, how do you manage that?
It was quite interesting, I would say. Like the first few years, I was trying to figure out my rhythm here, and I think like at the beginning, I just worked through the day and just kind of tried to figure that out. So I think the early years was really about figuring a lot of things out, and also because that was when SC first started in Singapore. Like I started, I think, a year into the business, and then I moved.
Oh, okay. So
So it was
2017,
quite
right?
nascent,
Right.
and yeah, basically, I think at that point in time, like my mom was still helping me pack orders in Singapore. So yeah, I think just from there, like kind of figuring out and growing the brand. Obviously a lot has changed over the past 8 years. Like the team has grown to about a team of 6, and I have changed as well as a person and as a business owner. So yeah, I think at the beginning I was just kind of figure out what my rhythm looked like. I was working from home. One of the things that I liked was that I call it my superpower, but actually, I mean, it's not. It's just time difference. Is that New Zealand is 4 to 5 hours ahead of Singapore.
Yeah.
And it's really nice when you're working on Singapore hours because you wake up and then everyone in Singapore is still asleep. So you get to do whatever you want. So I could do like very focused work, or I could go for a run. I could have a coffee in a cafe. Yeah, and that was really nice. I think the converse side to it was that obviously when Singapore afternoon, I guess when evenings roll around in New Zealand, then it's still afternoon in Singapore. So at the beginning, I was like working till really late. Like I didn't really have a fixed schedule. I'm just trying to like keep up with work and everything. Yeah, so it was a bit stressful, just kind of trying to figure out what my day looks like because I have complete autonomy of it.
And it's a very long day though.
It is a very long day because I start very early and I walk through the night.
Correct.
But I think over the years, like I've learned like how to protect my time a bit more and just kind of focus, like, I mean, wind down in the evening. So like my time is focused on my husband and now my child. And the weekends are also like kind of focused on family. But yeah, I think also it took like a couple of years and also maybe absorbing some of that Kiwi mindset that like work is just work and like nothing is too urgent, like nobody's gonna die. So yeah, just kind of leaving it to the next day. But I think it took a few years to kind of figure that out. And I think at the beginning, it was quite lonely because I was working from home. So I think I was also trying to find a community and a tribe in terms of like building my own kind of social circle that my husband had at work. Yeah, so that's...
How's that experience like for you building that social circle here?
I think at the beginning I did a lot of networking, but I think the ultimate kind of goal was like to kind of establish my business here. I think from a business perspective, it was quite like, it felt like an advantage because, you know, I was here, like the founder is here physically and like any brand would want that to be, you know, in a foreign country and be able to kind of establish a business there. Yeah, that was kind of always on the books. I kind of worked towards that. So at the beginning, I did like a pop-up at Ponsonby Central for a couple of months to like test the market and see what that was like. Yeah, and then I think COVID happened. So I think COVID was really long and restrictive here as well. So after that, another opportunity came up and then I took it. That was a pop-up at Mount Eden. And we did really well. We hit like 5 figures within the first week. So they invited us to kind of take up a permanent store. So that was kind of how I guess the business kind of took shape here as well.
How then do you balance? So now that you're physically here and the Singapore one still has its brick and mortar shop, right?
Yes.
So how do you find the balance in terms of priorities? Like I would imagine building here from scratch would require a bit more energy, but then you also don't want to lose the focus because that's like your base in Singapore. So how do you
I think at the beginning it wasn't great. Like I spent a few years kind of trying to figure out like the New Zealand business landscape. So like it was quite a steep learning curve, just kind of having to incorporate a company, figure out like the taxes, all the business regulations, as well as negotiate a lease with our landlord. But I think those things really energized me. So I had a lot of fun learning. But yeah, I think at the beginning my focus shifted a little bit more on New Zealand, just because I was trying to wholeheartedly and like put all my effort into bringing it to fruition. And at the time FC was slightly more established already. I think we had the COVID years where we were all working from home
about
to kind
2
of
years in.
plan and like strategize and focus. So by then I had, I think, part-time employees, so she was kind of helping to manage like the Singapore operations while I could kind of focus on New Zealand. And that helped a bit. But I would say, it really kind of also diluted my focus. On hindsight, when I look back, I was like, okay, this was an experiment, and now I know like where my main market is.
Okay. Yeah. And where is that?
Singapore.
Singapore.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in your experience, do you mind like sharing, is it harder to do business in Singapore or harder to do business here?
I think New Zealand is harder to do business just because, for one, we're both not Kiwis, so like learning all the business regulations and I guess from the nuances, like the culture, what the market is like, it requires a little bit more research and everything. So from that perspective, I guess as a migrant and as a foreigner here, like it's definitely a lot harder. And I think Singapore also makes it a lot easier. Like the government is
quite supportive
of Singapore grown businesses. So there are a lot of grants, there are a lot of resources that you can tap into.
I feel the same with what I'm doing. And I think an element I feel that's more challenging for what I'm doing is that because my product is very cultural, I get asked a lot of questions, and I also have been thinking about like how do I make this appeal to like the Kiwis. It's still a work in progress. It's very brave for you to like start something in the middle of like a lockdown, especially because your kind of products require physical in-person contact. And I literally had this conversation with my friend on Thursday. She's a good friend. I always catch up with her every fortnight, and we end up talking about like how, because she went to Japan for a holiday, and she realized that Japanese are really like very supportive of their brands, and it's not, it doesn't even have to be super branded. It's like nondescript everyday, but that seems not to be the case in Singapore. But the idea is like why Singaporeans are not supportive of their homegrown brands. Whereas when I came here, I realized that Kiwis really support local because they are very regional, very suburb based, right? So like the markets are really like your people who live there, grew up there. And then like I remember seeing like literally on billboards, if there is an opportunity, there will be like Kiwi owned.
Yeah, the Kiwi owned like stamp is like very, very prevalent. And like it is a real selling point.
Correct. So then I wonder, in your case, bringing so to speak, foreign brand, like how are the Kiwis taking to your brand, and what is like their feedback? What are the profile of people who get your stuff here?
Yeah, actually that's a very interesting question, because I think at the beginning I thought that okay, maybe clothes is a little bit easier because culturally, I'm not designing like ethnic wear as well. So I thought it's an easy sell, but I think on hindsight, when I looked at my experience, like the Kiwi market and the Singapore market is completely different. And I mean, when I design, I'm designing for the Asian woman, like for the seasonality, for the bodies and the proportions.
Yeah.
And I think when I started a business here, those were things that I didn't really think about, like the product market fit. That was a good, I guess, learning experience, like a test to kind of see whether my product kind of fit the market. And also culturally, I mean, even though it's not so much like food, which is very intrinsic to everyone's culture, clothes is also like, you know, the style of dressing is quite different from like a Singaporean or an Asian woman compared to a Caucasian woman.
Yep.
So in the early years, it was quite hard, particularly because we were in Mount Eden, where it's predominantly Kiwis. So like sizing was hard because we only have like until a Singaporean XL, which is like maybe 12 here. And so the women, the 14 and size 16 women were like, why don't you have my size? I'm like, I'm really sorry. And then like, you know, dresses were not long enough and that kind of thing. So it was a very interesting kind of experiment where I learned, you know, like more about, I guess, the customer. And because we had our store for 2 years as well, we had to weather through 2 winters. So something I didn't really think about, where Kiwis shop quite seasonally as well. I think autumn to winter is usually a bit more quieter for, I'm not sure if it's the same for the markets.
Possibly, because then they wouldn't set up outdoors as much.
Yeah, so people also weren't kind of shopping that much, and then the hours also were reduced because of daylight.
Cool.
Yeah, so like Kiwis only came out to shop during summer and a bit more. And then also because our range is primarily, you know, like summer tropical wear. So they're like, when am I going to wear this like spec dress in winter? I'm like, you can layer, you know, like put on sweaters and a coat. But yeah, it's a lot harder sell. So I think all these more practical things I kind of learned while I was running the store. I think from a fashion industry standpoint, like Kiwis are very supportive of locally designed. And I think seeing a Singaporean woman like in that neighborhood was quite refreshing. But yeah, it was also hard because they're like, oh, where are your products made? Like, are they made locally? And I'm like, no, because I have my market's also in Singapore. And like basically, I guess just seeing someone that's physically different and like designing for them may not necessarily kind of is a bit of a harder sell compared to like Kiwi brands they've grown up loving. And so that was interesting as well. But I think the interesting thing is that because Auckland is quite cosmopolitan now and diverse, so we had a few like really loyal like Malaysian and like Southeast Asian customers. So like I can't find, you know, clothing that fits me here. And I really love your brand. So I think that was also quite nice when I was running the business here.
I mean, I guess if there's any comfort to us, kind of our business catering to a certain profile demographic,
a more niche market.
Is that, I mean, this is statistically like in the news, right? Like New Zealand in general, especially Auckland, is heading towards like having more Asian people. Like I think by, I can't remember, 2030 maybe?
Oh, okay.
But basically we will be, if not on par with the Maori, if not, it's the second most populous people, Asian.
It's pretty diverse.
So it's like Chinese, Korean, Filipinos are the third biggest group, and then everybody else. So I mean, from a forward-looking
I guess
thing, cater to the future. That's something we can think about.
But I guess for you, like for Super Show Eats, like is your primary customer like Singaporean, or do you have, I mean, more Kiwis kind of?
I must say most of them are Southeast Asian.
Okay.
For the Kiwis, they would either have spouses who are Singaporean, Malaysian, whatever, or they have worked in Singapore for a very long time. So these are the generic profiles. But otherwise, for like the real Kiwis who haven't worked in Singapore or have not
traveled to Southeast Asia
connections or whatsoever, I would say if they are more worldly and adventurous, like they will give what we have a go. So that is kind of like the next like target, because they are already quite willing. they're a bit more adventurous. Yeah, they kind of know, but not yet.
How do you, I guess out of curiosity, how do you strike a balance between encapsulating the culture and the heritage behind the dish and not, I guess, trying to dilute that too much by appealing to a more Caucasian or Kiwi audience?
Yeah, actually I don't.
No, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
I
don't. I don't think I've diluted the taste. Like it's spicy,
No,
is spicy.
it's quite legit.
One of my thinking is that I would have to at some point have a fusion thing going on. Yeah. So which I mean in Singapore is like quite bedded lah. Quite a lot of restaurants I see, quite creative. Like it's, you know it's Singaporean, but it is put in a way that it's more palatable, not so exotic, so to speak. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like my thinking for the way forward. But for now, I think I still need to like keep at it, like in terms of momentum, in terms of just doing the work before experimenting again. And I think what's also interesting, as with many who follow you, you are very like open in terms of sharing.
I actually wasn't. I wasn't until a few months ago. But
really?
So I just started like sharing a bit more openly on Instagram. But I think I only decided to do that for a number of reasons. One, because I have a background in marketing and social media marketing in particular. And I do all the marketing for my brand as well. So I wanted to learn more about like Instagram and its algorithm and TikTok and all that. So I was like, okay, the best person to experiment on is me.
Yourself,
Yeah. So I just kind of decided to start sharing. And also like over the years, a lot of people have been asking me like, what's it like living in New Zealand? Like what's life like there? How did you move there? So I thought maybe I would just share it on Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, you sharing whatever you shared on widely seen platform, but in terms of back then when you decided to move here and when you tell people, like meaning family and friends, that you are leaving, like what did they assume the reason was, and what was their reaction, I guess?
I think we told them quite practically that we were moving for my husband's job. So they were like, okay, yeah, it's a job. But I think for my parents, they kind of saw it coming because like their daughter just keeps wanting to go overseas. So they were like, yeah, it's a matter of time. Yeah, but for my husband, I think his family, because he is, in his direct family, he's the only one who has actually like been abroad extensively for work back then, and then now like moving abroad. So they were a bit apprehensive. They were like, oh, okay, you're just going for a few years, right? Like 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
So they were not so sure about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why were they apprehensive when your husband has had?
I think living abroad.
Okay.
Like
for work.
He's been to like travel for work like 1 month or so. But I
Okay.
think like the idea of him like relocating physically was, they were a bit like, okay, like, like, can you take care of yourself?
Yeah.
You're gonna be so far away kind of thing.
Is he the only child?
He has 2 older brothers.
So he's the youngest.
Yeah. So I think
that's also
quite like, the baby of the family.
Yeah, the baby of the family. What are you, I guess, when you have the opportunity to like chat with your daughter who is now 2.5? Yeah. What would be the story you tell? Like, why mommy and daddy decided to move here?
Okay. I guess, I think the easiest part is why we moved, which is that dad got a job. But I think the hard one is probably like why we stayed. Yeah, why we choose to be so far away from family. I think I'll probably tell her that we wanted her to have a very different childhood growing up, like being exposed a bit more to like different cultures and like a more worldly view. And also, I think conversely, to be a really small family unit, just because it's just us at the moment, and be there for her during her formative years. So both are very wide and a very small perspective.
It's quite funny you should say that, because that's exactly that's my thought process exactly. Because I find like in Singapore, and because my kids came here when they were 18 months and 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, we've had the experience of them growing up with grandparents and extended family, right?
Yeah.
But I find like sometimes with
a lot of external.
Yeah, there's a lot of like comments. There's a lot of, I say comparison as to how you raise your children. You cannot do this, you must do that. Why are you doing this? Why you never do that? So I think, and that is on top of us working full time. I don't have a maid because I never grew up with one. So it's very uncomfortable for me. Yeah. We did try when I was pregnant with the second one because I was like panicking. Like, oh my gosh, another one coming. How? Yeah. So my husband, okay, why don't we give it a go? But after 2 months...
You're one of the rare Singaporeans who don't have a helper.
Yeah, I know. And in fact, before we moved here, I was just speaking to a Kiwi back in Singapore. We told him like, yeah, we're going to move here and all that. Then his first and only question, do you have a maid here in Singapore? I said, no, you'll be fine.
Okay.
Because I think it's the transition. Yes. Like if you are very used to a lot of help, right? Yeah. Suddenly everything you do yourself is quite a big shock to the system. Yeah, so I think I get it in terms of like, yeah, you have to juggle opinions. And sometimes, of course, it's with good intentions, but it's a lot to take in. And then, you have work, and then, there will be obligations where you have to go back to in-laws or parents for dinner. You don't really have time to process like your newfound motherhood. You're figuring out as well, right? Like how to take care of them. First take care of one and then take care of two. Yeah. On top of everything
that's
else.
True.
So I think coming here removes all of that quote-unquote distraction. It builds a very solid foundation because it's like you're relying on each other. There's only there's only the four of you. Yeah, it's like we are it, you see. Yeah, there's no other people who can help us or bounce off ideas or give us advice, whatever. It's just us. Right or wrong, like this is it. Yeah. So to a certain extent, it's like there is a lot of agency, but there's also a lot of accountability. Like however your kids turn out,
it's all on you.
You cannot say like, oh, because
she was raised by grandparents.
This auntie, Amma said this, Akong said this, right? Yeah. So I totally can relate to what you just
That's so interesting because I mean, my daughter, she's grown up here, so at the beginning, like we really had to wrap our heads around like being parents without any help or any family. And so at the beginning, we've also not really had the experience which you've had of like, external family members or like grandparents or society in general expecting you to kind of parent a certain way. Yeah, I think we're like kind of reminded of that every time when we do go back to Singapore or when extended family comes to visit, and then sometimes we get unsolicited advice, and we're like, we're like, yeah, okay, thank you for your input.
Yeah. How then, like you said, like, because she was born here and you have to raise her on your own. I mean, not that you will know because you will never have the experience in Singapore, but what does then raising like a girl in New Zealand, like how is it for you so far, and what does it mean?
I think, I'm still trying to figure that out, and I think my husband and I always talk about that nowadays, but I would say like day to day, like it isn't very different from, I guess, how a Singaporean family would operate, except maybe like removing all the like help or grandparents and relatives. Like we're still very Singaporean at home. Like we speak English, Mandarin, English. Yeah. And we eat home cooked like meals. So yeah, that's kind of like the environment that she grows up in. But I think what I like is that New Zealand provides a lot of things that in a way Singapore can. Like when she goes to playgroup, she meets people from very diverse nationalities and background, which is maybe not so much the case in Singapore. Yeah, like I guess the Kiwi childhood, the Kiwi rhythm, like, going for a summer swim, or having like real fruit ice cream in summer. Those kind of things are quite nice as well. Like it gives her a little bit more of that duality the Singapore side of her as well as the Kiwi side of her. So I think like that's what it means, and I guess like that's how it looks like day to day. Yeah, and I think the fact that she's also like a third culture kid in a way, is something we think about, but also think that, like it's also like her a bit more complex for her. Like she'll have to navigate like her identity and I guess like her heritage and her tradition, as well as like the Kiwi rhythm that she's probably like I guess that's the only thing she's known because she's growing up here. But also I guess a quiet strength. Like not a lot of kids have the opportunity or the privilege to, like have a different culture or have that duality to them. So while it's difficult to navigate, but I think, it's also like something that is like a quiet string that she'll kind of carry with her as she grows older.
So,
yeah.
So then, do you find yourself thinking like anything consciously or passing on to her? Like, I mean, Singaporean way of thinking or traits that you think you are consciously or not consciously passing on to her?
I think some of the things we are trying to be conscious not to pass on is like, I guess, the kiasu culture. Like, my husband and I grew up in the pressure cooker, like meritocracy that I'm sure you have as well, that we all have.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we a bit more conscious of not passing on. Like at the moment, like her day to day is really just play, and she's like going outside to play. Sometimes it's a bit like we question ourselves because like when I go back to Singapore and like when I talk to friends in Singapore, they're like, what? Why is she not like learning like how to write and like read like
abacus
and like I think recently also like some of them go and send them for like those IQ classes where you learn how to do the
Really?
Rubik's Cube.
Oh, they
have like an assessment. They have a tuition center for that.
For Rubik's Cube?
Like I think all those like IQ games. I was just like, why do you need a tuition center for that? But so yeah, I think those things like we try to remind ourselves that like she will probably have a very different life growing up here, and we try not to pass on that too much because we don't want to give her that pressure. I think we've seen like how it's affected a lot of friends and their family in terms of how their kids are raised. The other one I think would be maybe the conservatism around like, or the openness about like speaking out, being a bit different from the norm, not following like, I guess, going against the grain. I think because in Singapore you kind of try not to be too loud, or like you don't want to stand out too much. Follow rules. Don't break too much rules. I think we see like it's a bit more open here. People are a bit more expressive of how they feel or what they think, which is I guess is a good thing as well because you're a bit more assured of your identity. So that's something that we're trying to remind ourselves that it's okay to be a bit different. Yeah, and I think the things we want to pass on consciously, I guess also unconsciously, because it's like our day-to-day life, is like our language, our heritage, our traditions, our food. So that's something that I think is hers also. So yeah, we try to pass it on.
I mean, I picked up on, you using the word wanting to give her a different life.
Yeah.
So it's something that I have only, I would say maybe in the last year or so, now intentionally say, because when people ask me, why do you come to New Zealand? I say, I want to live a better, I use the word better life.
Okay.
I think with whatever that's been going on in the last 8 years, but in particularly like in the last 2 years, I kind of like, is it a better life? I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah.
Just from I don't know, the relentlessness of whatever that's going on, and I truly start to understand like what people say like about Singapore and Singaporeans, that we are quite insulated. Like our government is always making sure we are okay. Like we literally the nanny state, right? That's what we are being called, right? So there's always a buffer around us. if anything happens, like property prices go up, cooling measures. There's always something that
there's always something.
There's an intervention. But over here it's like
you're kind of
it's free for all, man.
Free for all, yeah. You're on your own.
Exposed to the world. Whatever natural market, free market, whatever nonsense.
Yes.
That So but because of that, generally things haven't been going well. I mean, even from businesses' point of view, right? So many businesses closed in the last years. I mean, of course, it also happened in Singapore, but I think the effects have felt a bit more immediate here than it would have been at home.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely do see that.
Yeah. So whether or not, so I think with all this going on, and I really, really genuinely thought when I came here, we are Singaporeans, right? We are, well, quite educated, and because we are a small country, we do travel a lot. Like we do go out and see the world, and also because in Singapore we are typically regional hubs, if not global hubs. So if we work in big companies, we definitely have that kind of, I guess, cultural news to the people from everywhere, so to speak. So I really thought then with that, armed with that, and I come here, it wouldn't be as hard, but it's so hard.
I can imagine raising kids here, raising 2 kids as well. I mean, that is
so hard.
That is very hard.
Yeah. So it kind of de-romanticized New Zealand a bit for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So it feels like it's very day to day. It's like there's nothing. I can't romanticize it as much anymore as I used to. It is my experience. So which is why when people ask me now, I don't say better life, I just say a different life.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah, I feel the same way as well. I definitely romanticize being here a bit when I first moved here, and I think a lot of Singaporeans also romanticize life abroad. They're always you're on holiday, life is so good. I'm like, no, I'm working, and I'm I have chores to do.
People told me, you go there to be tai. I said, what?
Yeah,
you don't do chores, okay.
Yeah, every day you're doing laundry and cooking. I'm it's not that
non-stop.
It's not that beautiful as you paint it to be. But I also quite like it. It feels like real life. That's how life should be.
Yeah.
In a way. I felt coming here, my husband and I learned a lot. We picked up a lot of skills. He learned how to DIY. We fixed our house, things around our house, painted our house, things like that. And we learned how to cook, very importantly, because we could only cook instant noodles when we first came. It was very sad. So all these life skills, we hadn't learned until we were in our late 20s and early 30s. And I was like, okay, this actually feels a lot more like real life. Whereas in Singapore, it's you say, very insulated. If you don't have food, then you just order, go to a coffee shop downstairs, or if you have a helper, then your helper can cook for you. Or if you need to clean the house, you can get a part-time helper. Everything is kind of outsourced, so you don't have to do anything. Yeah, which I felt I think you, I didn't grow up with a helper. I saw my mom doing all these things, but I think also as we grew up, it became a lot more convenient to outsource all these things, and it felt we're really very pampered and very sheltered.
And I mean to be fair, it's no fault of ours, because that's just how Singapore
operates.
Run. Yeah. I mean the reason why domestic helper is made cheap and accessible is so that they want us women out in the workforce, right? Yeah. So I mean, it's back when I heard in the 80s, I think they were trying to get women to go out and work, which is why they promote milk powders more than breastfeeding.
Yeah.
So I mean, so I mean, we didn't see it then, we didn't know it then, but when we came out, I mean, I like to use this phrase, you cannot read the label from inside the bottle, right?
Yeah.
So when you get out of the bottle, then you're like, oh, okay, a lot of things in Singapore is technically manufactured as well, but I mean, it's all for survival and all that. So
very pragmatic and very, very efficient.
Correct. Yes. Correct. Yeah. I guess, so back on us telling our children we brought you here to experience a different life. Would you consider encouraging, or I don't know, is there a possibility that she would go back, or you will bring her back at some point?
I wouldn't rule it out, I would say. I mean, the ideal is that she can continue her education here. That's what we would like for her. But something we also think about, because I think the New Zealand system is very different from Singapore. And I think coming from background that is very academic based and focused, and seeing the education system here is sometimes a bit like questionable. You worry.
Scared.
Yeah, you're a bit worried, like what's she gonna learn? But at the same time, I feel like, I mean, she will probably learn a lot of real life skills here. I mean, the world is changing very rapidly with AI, so she might actually be in a better position as opposed to like, in a professional role. But yeah, I guess that's one thing I think about. And then there's a lot of other factors, like I think bullying, and also the fact that she's a third culture kid and she will need to learn how to fit in. So yeah, I think that's something that I think about. So we really don't know for sure. But the ideal is that, she'll enjoy the education system here. She'll enjoy learning here. And looking at friends who have slightly older kids in their teenage years, whom they've uprooted from Singapore, they've actually adjusted beautifully here. So yeah.
So would you say, like, in terms of your social circles, your friends composition, like how many percent is like Singaporeans, how many percent is everybody else?
Oh, I've never actually really thought about that. I would say probably like 50-50. I think one of the things that we were quite conscious about was to not like
stick to our own kind.
Stick to our own. I guess not like actively seek out Singaporeans, because I mean, the fact that we have an opportunity to be somewhere else is like a chance for us to also broaden our worldview a little bit more and meet people from different cultures and nationalities. So I think most of the Singaporean friends that we've met, or Asian friends that we've met, are like friends of friends who know that we're here. Then they kind of introduce us to people who are already living here.
Okay.
And also I think mostly like mutual friends, or like occasionally through like Instagram. Then you meet people as well. So yeah.
And I mean, given the fact that you share very openly on your Instagram, I mean, that in itself is like an invitation to connect.
I have a few like cold calls. Some of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I've met a few like people over Instagram, which is a very interesting, I guess, way to meet people. It feels a little bit like a blind date. Like you don't really know what you're walking into, but it's also nice. Yeah. I think you're hearing the different stories.
That's one thing I fear, actually. Yeah, I fear. Like as you obviously, like, like you said, with AI and whatever, right? I think human connection is more important than ever before. So just based on that thinking, and then, wanting to share with people more about us, because we don't want it to also be transactional all the time, right? It's like all you do is like sell, but who buys your products? People what? So but then my fear is like, really, how do you cope with like negative reaction of people who trolls or whatever? Like that's
I mean, like, that's a whole new world for me as well.
I know, that's like a nightmare.
But now I just like, I mean, I work with a lot of influencers and KOLs, particularly in Singapore, because I mean, for my line of work, marketing. So I mean, when some of them have become friends. So when I talk to them, just like, like turn off your comments, or like don't reply. So just kind of putting that boundary and
correct. So I find like my experience here, because I also work, I'm also in the system. My kids are in public school. So to a certain extent, it is my due diligence to integrate into the place that I choose to come. Yeah, because I've met many, not Singaporeans, like Asians, typically Chinese, let me say this. But like they keep to themselves. They have their own business,
or they have their own circle, which is quite interesting. Like I feel like there's like, I mean, we have Korean friends, and I think they say like there's like Korean town in like Albany.
Yeah.
Like where it's primarily Korean and they kind of that's how they integrate, which is quite interesting.
Correct. I mean, I guess to be fair, every major city will have this kind of clusters. Like, but I mean, it's more like beyond that cluster, your everyday, you can't be, with your...
You kind of have to assimilate a little bit.
And integrate a bit. So I mean, back then, like, you were trying to like, oh, when you send your kids to private school, blah, blah, blah. But to me, okay, first of all, I cannot afford because I got two.
No, it is really expensive.
Like, I'd rather put that into the house when I get returns. Because to me, that is in itself an artificial bubble also, because the profile of people will be of a certain profile, right? Like, I mean, you can see them driving like Lamborghini SUV, those kind, and then on top of school fees, you have, I don't know what, international exchange or whatever, it's like, to me, it's like keeping up with the Jonases. It wouldn't be different to Singapore.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I managed to like put that away. And like to your point, right? Like when I came here, I was very worried that my child would be like the quiet Asian girl, meek at the back of the class, gonna bully also. Thankfully, she's not now. Yeah, so. And I think
how is she if I'm me, how is she finding, like, I guess the like just schooling here? I mean, obviously she grew up here when she was very young, so she wouldn't have a point of comparison, but like, is she enjoying it? And I guess if you were to like ask her, she goes back to Singapore, would she be open to that?
Yeah, so first question, like, my kids love going to school. Like school holiday after mommy boring, I want to go back to school.
That's
Which
nice.
is not what we would say.
Yeah.
Like in Singapore, I don't know about the kids now, but back then we were looking forward to holidays. But then again, we also don't look forward because there'll be holiday homework. Which doesn't exist at all here. So both my kids, when they got here, they went to like daycare but into the system since year 1. 5 years old. So I can see the change in her. Really, I mean, as a child, she was quite expressive already, but it's just that, I don't know, maybe I was just overthinking it at the time, thinking that she would be this meek person, but she didn't. And then recently, upper primary and now intermediate, she is very, like, I don't know, man, like into those leadership stuff.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah,
that's
she
really
will
cool.
like sign up to be MC lah, like, school events, and then whatever, lunch monitor lah, road patrol lah,
That's so
that
cool.
kind of thing. And then after that, she come back to me like looking very like flustered. I said, what's going on? Very busy. Then I say, who asked you to go and sign up to all these kind of things? And then I was like, you find this busy? You're very lucky you have homework, like, in Singapore. And then at least you can engage in this kind of things, right? So to me, it's time management now. Whether you're in Singapore or here, whatever activities, whether it's homework or CCA, you just have to manage yourself. So, like, to your point, I really think, like, if she was back in Singapore going to normal primary school, it wouldn't be as diverse. Like, I see her class photos. Like, there is obviously Kiwis, there's Maoris, Japanese, Taiwanese.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, like Sri Lankan. So, which is what I want, because that's what the world is and will increasingly be.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to hold your own with different kinds of people. And I think the fact that she is into this whole like leadership thing, which means you have to, because she's in a leadership position, she'll be compelled to like, you have to talk to people, right? If you are like whatever. So I mean, I'm hoping that develops.
No, that's
something for her.
That's a skill that you can't be taught. Like, you have to kind of just gravitate to, in a way, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So to a certain extent, like, I'm quite pleased for her. That she's confident. She can just, like, when we go out and walk up to any adult and just have a proper conversation, like, so hopefully that carries on and puts her in a good state in terms of whatever next time, jobs or opportunities, like she can sell herself. So in short, I think so far I am not concerned from the social aspect. Yeah. Although from the academic aspect, being a Singaporean, and this is only because she flagged it to me.
Okay.
Like I can tell like she's a bit struggling with math. So then I asked her lah, so do you want me to help you come up with something? Then she's like, yeah. So anyway, so she's, as of last year, she started Kumon. But I think I established it to her like it's not about getting right or wrong answers or whatever, but because Kumon you have to finish a book every day. And ever since she was in Kumon, she's very disciplined. Like
that's really
if
good.
she doesn't finish, right, she will panic because it's a cumulative effect, right? If you don't finish a book today, tomorrow you have to do 2 books.
Okay.
So do you want that to happen to you?
Yeah.
So I think she has developed this discipline. Like even when we went for a long weekend in Topo 2 weeks ago, she brought her homework.
Wow.
It's like, no, I said, it's okay, come back and do. No, mom. If not, I will have to end up doing 4 books at one time. I cannot. So she was, okay, that's up to you.
That's nice because it's very self-directed.
Yeah, correct. So that's what I want for her to realize. It's not about you getting all correct or whatever, but it's that learning takes discipline. Learning is hard. You have to put in some work, right? So so that's one Singaporean aspect that I introduced. But I did tell her that because the common thing follows your progress. So the teacher says by, I can't remember, sometime this year, she should be able to reach where she's supposed to be. So then we will review, say, okay, teacher say you technically have caught up. So do you want to continue? If you don't want to continue, it's fine. But if you think it's good for you, we can continue. So one thing I appreciate about here is that because the baseline is not as high in Singapore, right?
Yeah.
So any intervention actually can see quite a big improvement.
Okay.
Whereas in Singapore, everybody is like of a certain level, right?
Yeah.
So no matter how much tuition you have, there will be someone who has more tuition than you. So it's like moving goalposts all the time, which is not great for kids. You know, because you feel like so
not great
dejected, right?
For anyone in general.
Yeah, you feel so dejected, right? How come I put in so much effort? I only increased 5 marks.
Yeah,
kill myself. You know, that kind of thinking. So so that's what I appreciate about here lah. I mean, I try to dial down on the whole Singaporean tiger mom thing from the academic aspect. Yeah, so I really I tell them, you got homework? Yes, you'll pass out. You never do, that's your thing. Okay, I don't want to check on them. That's your responsibility. So I try to tell myself that. But where I'm more of a tiger mom is the values and the behavior lah. Yeah, it's very hard for me not knowing the social rules here. You know, the culture or whatever. Right. Whatever they do outside, friends or whatever, that's the local Kiwi thing. I mean, that's fine. But I think whatever is at home has to be what I feel will be appropriate for them. Yeah. So I think like your child will be, and as they would have to toe the line between realizing what is family or Singapore way of upbringing versus what they experience outside. Yeah. So, and she's gonna be a teenager next year. So I'm
fun times.
Looking forward to it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're 过来人. So hearing your experience is very, very enlightening because we honestly don't know what to expect as well. We only have one, and she'll be raised here. So we have no point of comparison or no reference point. We're just kind of figuring out as we go along. Yeah.
You will figure it out. So how often does she see her grandparents?
We video call them once a week. So she'll talk to them. And then they try to fly up once a year at least, when spend a couple of months. I think she's at an age where she recognizes them and she's aware. So she will be oh, can we call Akong and Amma? Yeah, which is quite nice also.
Is she I'm pretty sure not, but first grandchild or anything?
First grandchild on my side. Yeah. So very, very pampered.
Precious.
Very precious.
Oh, yeah. And girls some more.
Yeah. So very, very precious. Yeah. Anything she says goes.
Yeah. A good place to be honest.
Yeah.
So how is Essie now a reflection of you versus Like if you had solely just Singapore, SE in Singapore to manage versus SE in two countries. Like is there, you obviously shared like there's some kind of recalibration in terms of your day-to-day.
Yeah.
But from a, I don't know, big picture.
I would say, I mean, it's like in terms of like, I think I mentioned like the woman I'm designing for is still primarily Asian, but from a business owner perspective, it's changed a bit, like because I have changed a bit. So I think when I first moved here, I was very young and ambitious. Like I wanted to like build something and do something just because I could.
You are still young.
I'm pretty sure we're quite close in age.
You are still.
But yeah, so I think like, I mean, the store that I created was also really to like find belonging and also like show my family and people back in Singapore that I was doing something, that I wasn't on a holiday. Yeah, so
I mean, after 8 years, they still think you're on holiday.
No, I mean, after my parents came, then they see me like, you know, like doing chores, then they're like, oh, okay. But like, you know, some people, they will
do chores, then okay.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like, I'm not like on frolicking in the fields every day and like, you know, like that is not my life.
I can imagine.
Yeah, like when you try to tell a Singaporean, like you move to New Zealand, oh, so nice, you know, you're like out in nature. I'm like, no, I'm at home doing the laundry. Yeah. So yeah, I think like also was kind of like trying to show that I was trying to build something overseas. So like it was just really about like trying to be ambitious and build as big or as much as I could. But I think now like the brand has kind of grown with me. Like it's about women who go through different life moments and seasons in life, and we kind of design around that. So I think it's quite reflective of my journey here also, where I've also kind of gone through many seasons in my life, from relocating to starting a business here and closing the business here and having a baby, becoming a mom. So yeah, like it's a bit richer that way in a sense that it kind of has journeyed with me. And it's more about building something a bit more honest. And I think bringing the Kiwiness of life, or the Kiwiness that I won't say I'm Kiwi, but like I have any Kiwiness, but I guess some Kiwi aspects of being here. You know, the nature, being in nature, I think that kind of shapes the visual language of the brand, how I design creatively, the fabrics I choose, the colors I choose. And also just kind of emulating some of the brands and businesses that I really admire in New Zealand that are, I think, more sustainably minded.
Okay.
From a fashion perspective, I think Kowtow is one of them. And I think there are a lot of B Corp brands here as well that kind of base their business ethos around sustainability. So, yeah, seeing how they kind of communicate and how they deepen their kind of sustainability language is something that, you know, I've learned as well, and that I can kind of apply to my business. So yeah, it's kind of evolved with me over time.
Okay. How has being a Singaporean helped you or not helped you in your current journey, whether as a business owner or a mom?
I would say that like the good thing about being a Singaporean is that we're quite disciplined and we're quite like go-getters. So we won't really say like die, or you know, like we're quite like kiasu in that way. Even when things got hard, you're just kind of like powering through. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, the only reason why I snigger is because, you know, there is this recent debate that Singaporeans are not hungry enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the news, is it?
Yes. Yeah. It came through because this recruiter.
Oh yes, I saw the lawyer, right?
Said that Singaporeans are not hungry enough.
Yes, I saw that, and she got a lot of flack for it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
yeah.
But
obviously, we are testament that is untrue.
Yes.
Which is why I commented. I said I find like maybe the diaspora can offer some perspective on that topic. Yeah. And I mean, of course, there are a lot of nuances there, lah. But I think, to be honest, yes, 8 years is not a long time, but it's not a short time either. And yeah, so I've met enough Singaporeans to come to a reasonable conclusion that it's not that we are not hungry, lor. Like, I think if anything, I feel that we are. And if anything, for example, like in the case of Gabriel's husband, it's like the hunger has pushed him to the limits, actually. Like, I think that's it's fair to say that a lot of Singaporeans left because they cannot take that rat race, and you know, and in part it has to be fueled by some kind of hunger. So to call our people not hungry is I would imagine the diaspora would be a bit up in arms about that lah. So it's interesting that you should raise that as a quality that we have that actually put us in good state.
I mean, I think so. Yeah, and I also think that being here, I've kind of redefined to me what success looks like, because I feel like in Singapore it's defined a certain way and it looks a certain way, but yeah, being here you kind of can be successful in many different ways, in like your family, in how balanced your life is. Like, it's not just around one particular aspect of your life. Yeah, which is something that like you probably don't get in Singapore.
Yeah, so great chatting with a fellow millennial mom, business owner, Singaporean, mom of a girl, wife to engineer.
We have so many things in
common. To be honest, when Andrick suggested that you come on our show, I feel a lot of pressure.
Why? I felt a lot of pressure.
No, I felt a lot of pressure. I was like, Andrick, are you kidding me? She has like 9,000 followers. Like, what kind of good could we like, like bring to her? Like, we don't want to like, and I guess because I'm also new to this whole thing. I mean, I did have a vision and idea, and all thanks to Andrick, who like asked me to be brave and like just come on board and just do this. So in case you don't know, like, he started out as my customer, and then we just
as a partner of your customer.
Yeah, sorry, a partner of a customer who also shares my name. Funny, Lena.
Part of your name.
Yeah, part of my name. And it all started from there. It was like super fast, like random chat about something, and then next week, okay, let's do it. And then 2 weeks later, we recorded like
That's
a
amazing.
few people. Yeah. So I'm still processing it, to be honest. And then also thinking like, if I don't do this now with someone who is like quite like-minded and then like on the ball, right? It's the Singaporean way of working, like we understand each other. Like, if I don't do this now, when can we try?
To
right?
Queenstown to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You would have to buy him an air ticket back.
Yeah. I mean, if this takes off, and we do subsequent seasons, I think that's kind of like our vision, like because New Zealand is so dispersed, right?
Yeah.
People will be thinking, hey, why you only do people in Auckland?
Yeah.
So we do have that in mind.
Thank you for having me. I think you are an amazing host. Like, you're very easy to chat with, and like you've made me feel very comfortable. Like, I feel like I'm talking to an old friend.
Oh, that's the idea.
Yeah.
That's totally the idea.
Yeah. So I think you're actually a natural at this. Like, you don't need like to you are professional and polished, but you also are very natural, which is what a podcast host needs, I guess.
I know, it's very funny because I work in comms, right? But usually I'm behind the scenes. I write the press release. I tell people what to say, what not to say. So I'm never in front. I don't like the idea at all. Yeah. And I've so many times like stakeholders will tell me like, you're very quiet for a comms person. I was like, what do you want me to do? Song and dance?
Yeah.
Like, but I'm a great listener. I do my stuff
you
behind the
kind
scenes.
of translate that down into
I'm an operator. I'm reliable. If I say I'll do this, I'll do it. Yeah. So So I mean, that is more for me to like manage lah. Yeah, like the stories as we tell ourselves, right? And then we keep telling us, no, you're not good. Blah, blah, blah.
No,
I don't know. I think I don't know. I think the fact that I am in a transition from like my comms professional identity to doing this business thing. So I have to tell myself, I want things to be different. I have to do it differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why.
No, I feel
myself.
you like so deeply on that because, yeah, I think before I started SC, I was like very quiet as well. Like I wouldn't be like, I don't like being in front of the camera. I don't like speaking, public speaking. But I think the business kind of forced the hand. Like I really had to be the face of my business. So at the beginning, like really bad, like I was started in front of the camera or stammer, and it took like many years of training and putting myself out there. Even this Instagram experiment of me putting myself out there, like, I think the first month when I posted, I was just like cringy. I was like, should I delete this post? Like, it's but after a while, it just becomes a muscle memory. And it's just like, okay, like nobody really, I mean, it's out there in the world, but I mean, nobody really cares lah.
Yeah.
It's just, So
well, if it's any comfort to you, you're doing an amazing job.
Thank
and
you.
Actually, so between our initial call to now, right, I had like 3 friends forward me your post.
Oh.
Can't remember which one, but I
Okay.
think a couple of different ones.
Okay. I think Instagram is doing its work. Yay.
Yeah. And but I kept quiet. I didn't say like, oh no, I want to talk to her.
Yeah.
So I just pretend, yeah, interesting. You know? I was like, watch out.
Okay. Thank you. I feel very honored, and thank you for that. Yeah. That means a lot. Yeah.
No, I feel honored. Then they'll be like, you actually gonna talk to her? I said, yes. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this.
All good. For squeezing in. I know you're traveling and now you're not well. Yeah, so really appreciate it for making it happen. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for spending the weekend and this chat. It was lovely.